Hello and welcome. In today's video, we will be writing task 1 and it is academic task 1 on bar graph. So the bar graph that I have selected for today's video is the chart below shows the expenditure on 3 categories among different age groups of residents in the UK in 2004. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So we can see in the graph that it is at the top you can see citizens expenditure in the UK, and then at the left hand side percentage of total spending. At the bottom you can see the age groups, which is under 30, 31 to 45, 46 to 60, 61 to 75, and above 76. And in the legend, that is the shading of the graph, I would say. So you can see the dark shading is food and drink. The one that is grayish is restaurant and hotel. And the one which is the lighter one, which is entertainment. If you're getting the exact question in the examination, first just try to think maybe for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and that should be the time you are taking just to think about the vocabularies. So in this case, if I see the question, that is, the chart below shows the expenditure, I will just read till this and what kind of vocabularies come to my mind. For the chart, I can say the bar graph or the column graph. Again, I can say the vertical bar graph. So I can use that vocabulary instead of saying the chart. Next, you can see the chart below. So as this is the question paper, we or the person who set that question, he has mentioned the chart below. But when we are writing, we should not be writing anything by saying the vertical bar graph below, because we are not providing with any kind of graph or something in the answer sheet. So this is just a basic thing to note, but whenever you are writing your paper, you can say the bar graph or the vertical bar graph or the column graph which is provided, or the given bar graph or the given vertical graph. In the question it says the chart below shows. So for the word shows, we can use the vocabulary depicts, illustrates, compares. Next, the word is expenditure. For expenditure, we can say spending of money, amount of money spent, or even we can say how much money was spent. Next, we can see 3 categories. So for that, the vocabulary can be, you can describe at least like the 3 categories. Just try to describe what are the categories. Food and drink, restaurant and hotel, entertainment, just like that. Next is different age groups. For different age groups, just see how many number of age groups are given. So I can see 5 different kind of age groups are there. We can say 5 age groups, or even you can, just like the previous 3 categories vocabulary we did, we can mention the different age groups like below 30, 31 to 45, 46 to 60, 61 to 75, and above 76. Next, you see residents. For residents, the best vocabulary will be dwellers, people living in dash dash country, like whatever country is mentioned in the question. Here it is UK. So people living in the UK. One thing to note here is not all residents are citizens. So there is a difference between citizens and residents. Residence means you are living in certain country. Can be for permanent, can be temporary. Next is the UK. So you can say United Kingdom. Then in 2004 can be in the year 2004. at a glance, when I'm trying to see the striking feature, or what I should say here, like the overall paragraph. So, if I'm trying to see what is something that stands out of the rest of the group or the rest of the categories, I can see there are two striking features here. And this can be different. And this is just my perspective that I'm trying to say here. It can be different with different people, and they can have a different outlook of this one, and it's just a point of view. The first striking feature that I can see is, as we can see the increase of age among the age groups, we can see increased spending of money in the category food and drink. So if you see the graph, you see under 30, it is like approximately 6%, and it just gets increased as the age groups in 31 to 45, it increased to like 13% approximately, and then it gets increased to 17% in 46 to 60 age group. In 61 to 75, I can see it is 20%, and in the 76 and above, I can see that as getting increased to 23%. So that's a striking feature that I can see just at a glance. The second striking feature that I can see is, if you try to see the age group 61 to 75, there is something that is really important in that age group. What is that? It is, this age group, or the people in this age group, has spent the most or the maximum in entertainment, and the least and the minimum in restaurant and hotel among all the age groups. So if we try to see it at a glance, this can be another striking feature, and this can be written in the overall as a striking feature. Next is grouping. So when it comes to the task one, there are some confusions like how to group the graph when I'm writing, or how to group it overall that it will look good or it will make sense. So, according to me, what I felt in this graph, you can group it in two ways. The first group, or the basic group, I would say, is by the age groups. That is under 30, 31 to 45, 46 to 60, 61 to 75, and above 76. And the next group that I can see here, the next group can be by categories. And this is a little bit different approach that I don't see most students taking. And in IELTS, if something is written differently, but that makes sense and is correct, or in speaking also, if you're speaking something that is distinct from what others are speaking, it fetches more bands, to be honest. So the next grouping can be by categories. What categories? Food and drink, restaurant and hotel, entertainment. If you are writing something and you are giving your 100% in the writing, nobody is going to deduct your band score. That's like if you're writing it with every single vocabulary that is mentioned, or you are getting all the vocabularies which is different or somewhat different, maybe two to three vocabularies you are having, and you're interchanging that between paragraphs and writing it properly, you will get good bands. But I'm just giving you another way of writing the task. That's it. So I will just try to write the task one with the first group that I mentioned, which is the general grouping that students do. But here I will be trying to group those bar graphs in a different pattern. And yes, if you're trying to group that in a different pattern, like a random pattern, I would say, not going under 30, then 31 to 45, in that manner, like the ascending order, you can group them if you feel that two or three of the bar graphs are having, or two or three of the groups are having similar features, and maybe rest of them are having something different from each other. You can group it like that. And yeah, that can fetch you more bands, because most of the students, when they are trying to write and there is less time in the examination, they try to miss those points and they try to write it in the ascending order or whatever order is given in the question paper. So it's better to spend some time whenever you're getting the question, try to rearrange the groups and then try to write. So you're getting your vocabularies, you are rearranging the groups, you are getting the striking features which you will be writing in the overall paragraph, and then just start. Now I will be presenting you the answer that I would have written if I had received this question in the examination hall, and I would be grouping it with the first kind of grouping that I mentioned, that is with the age group. I might make another video of the same question with the other way of grouping, that is with the categories. But in this video, let's see with the first kind of grouping and rearranging the groups, how it can fetch you more bands in the examination. So let's start with my sample answer. And I have paraphrased the first paragraph according to the question. So my first para is: the vertical bar graph provided depicts how much money was spent on food and drink, restaurant and hotel, and entertainment by 5 age groups of people, and I have mentioned under the bracket below 30, 31 to 45, 46 to 60, 61 to 75, and above 76. Bracket close. Living in the UK or living in the United Kingdom for the year 2004. As you can see, my first paragraph, it paraphrases most of the words that is in the question paper, and these are the vocabulary. Even if you are just changing the tense, or even you are just trying to make an active a passive, it is also counted as a vocabulary. So there is nothing tough like you don't know certain words and you don't know maybe the synonyms of the words, but you can try to use another form. For example, for residence, you can say residing in. That is a vocabulary. That is kind of paraphrasing as well. Let's begin with my second paragraph, the grouping. It can be seen or it is observable that people of UK below the age of 30 spent most on restaurant and hotel. In the bracket, approximately 14%, then food and drink, in the bracket about 6%, and entertainment, in the bracket almost 7%. Here I tried explaining that the age group below 30, they spent like most on a certain group as compared to the other two groups. So I did not explain the graph as it is given, but here also I tried to compare between the three categories while mentioning about the age group. However, the opposite trend can be noticed for people, or you can say UK dwellers, who were in the age groups 46 to 60, 61 to 75, and above 76 years. What I tried mentioning here was that the first line that I said that people spend more on a certain category and the age group of that people, I tried mentioning another age group or age groups here who just did the opposite. So I tried contrasting that. And again, this is not as is that is given in the graph. So I am making comparisons I am categorizing, or I am trying to group that in a different way. I'm trying to reorder or rearrange that in a different way. For these three age groups, spendings on restaurant and hotel is the least, almost 11%, 3%, and 6% respectively, as compared to the two other categories in the bracket, food and drink and entertainment. What I did here is I tried mentioning which category people did spend the least, and that was restaurant and hotel. And I also mentioned what was the percentage of money that was spent on restaurant and hotel. And I used respectively, which is also another structure that we can use in writing. Now let's start with the next para. Moving further, the individuals residing in the United Kingdom who fell under the age group of 31 to 45 paid almost equal amount of money on food and drink and restaurant and hotel, approximately 13%, and they paid less than 10% when it comes to entertainment. This para basically tries to focus on one age group, which is 31 to 45. Why? Because that's the age group that is remaining in our writing. In the previous para, we mentioned four of the age groups. So this is the last but not the least age group that is left. And what did this age group do? This age group did like equal amount of their expenditure of money on food and drink and restaurant hotel, because that's what we can notice in the graph, and spending less than 10% in entertainment, because you can just see that in the graph and feel that they are the age group who almost tried spending within certain, I can say, amount of money and percentage of money, because their expenditure starts within the range of 7% and ends within like 13%. Now, the overview para, or I would say the interesting para. So for me, I try to place the overview para at the end of my graph or the task one of academic IELTS, but you can go ahead and put that in your second para if you want. The position of the overview para as a second para or a fourth para does not hamper your band score, to be honest, because it is you who is giving the striking features and you can mention that well in the second paragraph. If you are mentioning it and that makes sense, you are bound to get that good band score that you deserve. For me, I feel that whenever I'm writing a task, I get more and more points when I'm just looking at the graph again and again. And that can change my overview para whenever I'm just ending my writing task one. So I keep that or save that for the end, just like the dessert that you save at the end of your dinner. I do the same with my overview para. So at the end, when I'm writing my overview para, it can have more striking features in it. Like whenever I'm doing my brainstorming, I get most of the points that I've been writing for the task one, but for the overview, I make it look like three different striking feature or two different striking feature that I can choose at the end which one to write or which one I should not be using. It's totally up to you where you want the overview para to be placed. It can be in the second para, it can be in the fourth para. If you are good with brainstorming at the beginning of your writing task one, go ahead, place that in the second para. If you're writing it properly, you will get bands. That's it. This is my overview para now. Overall, the age group that has spent the least amount of money on restaurant and hotel is the same group of UK dwellers who paid the most on entertainment among all other different groups of people, and that is people within the age of 61 to 75. So, here the major thing was to avoid the word age group, and age group. And while writing it, I found that, yeah, I can make it people falling under the age or people within the age brackets, you can say, or people within the age, anything like that. And that is also a vocabulary to be added in the list of vocabulary that was given in the beginning of the video. That's how I would be writing my task 1 for IELTS Academic. I hope you like this video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I would be uploading more videos for IELTS writing. And I hope that will be helpful to you. All the best.